Merry Christmas, one and all, and welcome back to the Damage Report as we close out 2025 in the next couple of days. I'm not sure which is our final day, but it feels like it should be a Friday. I don't know. Brett, you're here. Brett Erlich is here. Merry Christmas, Brett. Doesn't it kind of feel like this is the last show of the year in a weird way?
It feels like you're eating something right now.
It does feel a little bit like that.
What happened? What possessed you? I think it's
a compression thing in the algorithm digitally. But anyway,
the reason I like that we switched studios is I have a feeling John's eating Cheetos and drinking Coca-Cola right now because he's got a different desk and a different
could not be more wrong about it. Okay, you got me. Anyway, we were having tech problems, and so I filled the time with eating. But anyway, we're here, everybody. It's Friday. We're doing one show to close out the holiday for some reason. But anyway, we are gonna have fun because we are gonna be talking about Christmas. There's some Christmas news going on. Now you might think, Wednesday, Thursday, journalists aren't working, Congress isn't in session.
Happy days.
What could be going on? But it turns out Donald Trump wants nothing to do with his family on Christmas, so he decided to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So we do have things to talk about. So that'll be fun, Brett. Brett, how was your Christmas, by the way?
It was great. We got gifts from John Iadarola, which is nice. John is the best gift giver. It is actually a problem.
Did you open your golf gift?
Did I open my golf gift? Hashtag John's pricey balls.
Were you?
That's
my website. It's a membership thing. Yeah.
Just to give you there it is. I'm not the Jewishest person, but I don't buy golf balls.
No, you find them. You fish them out of
course. And whatever it is, it really does tap into something in my blood. It's like, these are free. And you can't say it, but I can. But I realized that this Christmas, I am a child. Like, look what my mom got me.
Ooh, fun.
A basketball.
A basketball is a fun thing. That is true.
But it does turn out that I am also 43. So in addition, I got this self-massaging device. When you got a shtuck in your back, you just kind of put it around here and you work out the kinks. Oh,
I got to try that. Yeah.
It's great, and it's for everyone. I don't know what this is. I can get to blur this in the rerun.
I think you know
exactly. I genuinely don't know what that's for.
What?
But this part's for your back. This part's for your back side. This part's for your back side.
Anyway, if only Trump had one of those, he might have had a better Christmas day. But anyway, I'm glad your Christmas was great.
Stuck up there.
My God. Anyway, I had a good Christmas. My daughter was into it, opening presents, throwing things to the side, asking for another present to open. She's gonna love loot boxes in video games someday. But anyway, everybody, I hope you also had a great Christmas, and we're gonna try to give you a belated present in an hour and a half of awesome news. Capping off, by the way, in the aftermath with our garbage people and our garbage people of the year, which should be a lot of fun. So anyway, my present to producer Mike is that I'm gonna try now to get into the story so he doesn't blow a heart valve or something. But anyway, hit the like button.
God, am I louder now? Jeez, this is so loud in my own ears, but it's worth it. It's Monday the 29th. We're having the special for the Turks and Jerks. Yep. Everyone go vote on our on the YouTube channel and TYT.com. Also on the 29th at 8 p.m. 7 Central, I'll be on ABC's The Year in review with Robin Roberts and a lot of people. So check that out. And then the next day, it's available on Disney Plus and Hulu.
Awesome, very fun. And both Brett and I are going to be on the Turks and Jerks special, so it should be a lot of fun. I had fun choosing both my Turk and my Jerk, so it should be a lot of fun. But anyway, with that said, why don't we jump into a little rundown of how the festivities went for different people in DC, starting with this.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you. Merry Christmas, Mom.
This is Crew.
Hi, Crew.
I'm from Pennsylvania.
Right, I know. Oh, Pennsylvania is great. We won Pennsylvania. Actually 3 times, but we won Pennsylvania. We won it in a landslide, so I love Pennsylvania.
Yeah, maybe don't even do that whole thing, because that's not good for the kid. That's not good for the viewer. Donald Trump talking to kids about his conspiracy theories of how he won Pennsylvania 3 times, which he didn't, in a landslide, which he didn't at all. And that's Christmas with the president. Doesn't he seem like a nice guy who totally gets kids and how to talk to them and everything? But anyway, as weird as that is, now that he's in power, that he's still thinking back 4 years ago and lying about being beaten, it got even weirder in this one.
We're passing you to Susanna. She's 8 years old and she's from Salisbury, North Carolina.
Good. Hi, how are you? Merry Christmas.
It is.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, correct.
Hi, how are you doing? Okay?
Christmas to you and your family.
Yes.
Oh, that's
How
good.
are you?
I'm fine. You sound so beautiful and cute. How old are you?
I'm 8.
Wow, so smart. You sound so smart.
So look,
what are you wearing? What? Let me ask. It sounds like a call center in there. It's like there's a lot of chatter in the background. Neither of them on the phone with you speaks English very well.
No, I don't. Look, a lot of people are sitting that around and be like, "Oh, look, he's calling the 8-year-old beautiful and cute." I'm not submitting that call as evidence that he's a pedophile or whatever. If you want, you can refer to the files. But no, that was just like, he cannot relate to a person. How do people think that he's like a man of the people? He can't even he has like 1,000 kids. And he has no idea how to talk to a kid for 5 seconds. How old are you? They just told you how old she is. That's the only thing you can think of on Christmas? No?
The most relatable thing about Trump is he doesn't want to talk to children.
But he has kids. He even has a not too old kid.
There's two different.
Still teen.
I know people in both categories I'm about to describe. There's 2 ways to have kids. One is as a wealthy person, and one is as a normal person. The wealthy people don't really have to hang out with or connect with their children. You hire someone to do that. You're outsourcing that responsibility, which allows you to kind of sequester that child in a different environment until it is old enough to go to therapy.
Yeah, maybe there's some of that.
But anyway, you did to it. The rest is like, oh, I have to learn what a child sounds like when it's grumpy or cranky or needs to change the diaper, which is how much of Trump's staff has to learn to communicate with him.
That's true, and he is hard to deal with. But yeah, just all he has is your look. I get like him saying you're beautiful, you're cute. That's him trying to be personable. And then there's the funny button on it where she's like, I'm 8 years old. And then we cut it off before he said, well, fine, don't call me back in 6 or 7 years. But anyway, no, it's a weird little, he's not a personable person. And Melania like cutting in, she doesn't know how to talk to them either, even though she has kids. What?
I think she's talking to another kid on another line next to him.
Well, I think she's sitting right next to the phone. Why would she, really? It's different. That's a bad.
It's a production nightmare. What I think is funny is that second kid. That's the line the first kid should have used, which is like, Trump's like, I won Pennsylvania 3 times. It was great, landslide. And the kid that in that scenario should have said, I'm 8.
I don't care about your BS, dude.
Do you like crayons?
You can have 1 crayon, not 500 crayons. Yeah, he can't remotely code switch at all. He has he's just put in the pasture, man. Can we be done with this whole thing?
If you think about it, by the way, he should be able to connect very well with kids. Like they both fall asleep in public.
Yeah.
They're both wildly cranky all the time, and no one wants them there.
Yeah, and toddlers have those fat little ankles or whatever. They're so cute. He's working on those.
But if they're in your family, you love them for some reason, even though every dispassionate observer thinks they're the most annoying thing on the planet.
And that is true of almost every kid other than mine, who is actually a delight and everyone loves her. You don't have to be a part of the family. But yeah, look, the issue I think for Trump is that he does not want to be talking to little kids. He wants to be yelling at his base as if they're little kids. And oh boy, did he do that. So we're gonna be going through some of what he did on social media. Let's put up this massive rant. This is the one that's drawing the headlines. And I want you to bear in mind the timestamp of this. He sent this at 6:51 p.m. on Christmas, okay? I know what I was doing. The limited amount I was on my phone on Christmas was, is there anybody I really care about that I forgot to send a Christmas message to? And I'm trying throughout the day, spacing it out. I'm saying, not him. He sent between 150 and 200 true social messages on Christmas. And in my production meeting, I said to my producers, can you imagine if my wife randomly checked my Twitter and saw that I had posted 150 times on Twitter on Christmas, how enraged she would be. But that's what he does. This doesn't mean anything to him. There's no family aspect, there's nothing. He cannot get an hour of internal peace, even on Christmas. He has to be out there shouting about madness, and oh boy, did he do it. So you've got this big thing, which is him trying to pretend that everybody else likes Epstein. It wasn't him, his actual best friend. They're all weirdos, except that he's the guy trying to cover up what Epstein and his crew did. It doesn't make any sense. It's a long, crazy rant where he's like, yeah, I want to take down Epstein, but screw Massey for trying to take down Epstein. Really weird thing. Again, he's talking about his sex predator friends on Christmas. Very fun. He ends it, by the way, by saying, enjoy what may be your last Merry Christmas, President Donald J. Trump, which is an ominous way to end a Christmas message. Then he goes on, he's posting about how Ilhan Omar should be deported from the United States. On Christmas, she did that. And look, I'm not, normally when we do this, we'd show you 1,000 other things. Every conspiracy theory you can think of, he was posting. Every lie about his economic performance, and all the AI. It's just, this is Brett. This is how he spent his Christmas when he is a multi-billionaire president of the United States with a wife and a big family. All he did was social media all day long. And I think that's awesome. What do you think?
This is what's honestly, if I'm Melania, the best Christmas gift Trump can give me is effing off and going and tweeting up a storm. For me, sometimes the nicest thing I can do for my wife is leave her alone for a while and let her, or leave the house and let her just have some peace and quiet without me just talking to myself.
I try to do that, yeah, too.
This is it. But it's on most Christmases when people are like, oh, does daddy have to work today? Oh, dad's got to work. I'm sorry, that sucks. And it's she's like, oh, what are you doing? Are you planning to save the economy? Are you planning to make the world a better place for deported little girls and boys? She's Persian in this film. And then Trump's like, no, I'm tweeting about Epstein.
Yeah.
Sorry, he's just 1 second, I'm almost done. Russia.
It's so weird.
At this point, does his phone just auto-complete nonsense?
I think it fills in transgender for everyone. No men and women sport. It finishes that. And by the way, he sent 150 messages. That one message is longer than all of the Christmas messages I sent combined. And that's
he wrote
one of them.
150 novellas.
I know. God, I wish I was as prolific. I could have written so much about mice. But anyway, that's how he spent his Christmas. Let's move on to one thing that he did focus on in those messages. When I think of Christmas, I think of family and community and all that happy stuff, best summarized in a Muppet Christmas Carol. For our president, not so much. He couldn't even get through Christmas Eve without thinking about his enemies, his long enemies list. And for some reason, Stephen Colbert surfaced again on it. I think it's because people are saying they did a rerun of a Stephen Colbert episode where he had a rant about Donald Trump. And Donald Trump who says constantly that nobody watches Stephen Colbert. Well, he never misses a single episode, including reruns. So that really triggered him. And he said this, it's gonna get a little bit dark at the end of this message, by the way. He says, Stephen Colbert is a pathetic train wreck with no talent or anything else necessary for show business success. Now, after being terminated by CBS, but left out to dry, he has actually gotten worse. Along with his non-existent ratings, Stephen is running on hatred and fumes, a dead man walking. CBS should put him to sleep. Now, it is the humanitarian thing to do. And I love that because he calls Stephen Colbert a pathetic train wreck. It is Christmas Eve. You know what Stephen Colbert is doing on Christmas Eve? Spending time with his family and wife who he loves. Donald Trump is tweeting about Stephen Colbert. He says Stephen is running on hatred and fumes. Dude, it's Christmas Eve. Go spend time with Barron, dude. Who's really running on hatred here? But anyway, 20 minutes later, he's still tweeting. He says, if network newscasts and their late night shows are almost 100% negative to President Donald J. Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party, shouldn't their very valuable broadcast licenses be terminated? I say yes. Exactly, yeah, no. I mean, if the media is negative towards you, obviously the regime should crush them and censor them. I'm pretty sure that's what the conservative movement has been all about the last decade or so. Brett, what do you think?
We need a Sally Who to make this Grinch's heart grow 3 sizes that day.
And they did, it hit his ankles, unfortunately, instead of the heart. Boop, 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 boop.
It's like, what's hilarious is what you pointed out earlier, that Colbert wasn't doing that at the time. That wasn't a live broadcast.
No, it wasn't.
Like that was a rerun because Stephen Colbert was busy living out the spirit of Christmas. This is more onward Christian soldiers than it is Silent Night. Like, shut up.
Go have a conversation with your wife. Have the first ever conversation you've ever had. Just try it out.
It's okay, John. Do not point him toward me.
And some of his base thought this was a bit weird. Some of them loved it. Okay, he is providing a service on Christmas Eve and Christmas to people in his base like Gunther Eagleman, who said, Trump's right, Stephen Colbert is a pathetic train wreck. Well, I don't know. Again, I don't think Stephen Colbert is retweeting presidential rants on Christmas. I don't know if Gunther Eagleman has kids, but if he does, I know that he is one of the many members of the most devoted MAGA base who don't have good relationships with their kids and console themselves that it doesn't matter because I'm right about Trump. He's the best. And this is how they spent Christmas Eve and Christmas. You say there's a war on Christmas? Who's on a battle like orientation when it comes to Christmas? I was opening presents. I was putting out milk and cookies. Seems like you guys have a problem with the holiday, actually.
Right, like all the stuff that Stephen Colbert makes fun of Trump for is stuff that should get you a lump of coal in your stocking. Like, it's when Trump's naughty, that's when literal good Christian Stephen Colbert calls him out. I don't even like, I don't love the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Like, I don't love it. And I still like don't think that the president should threaten his First Amendment rights and distribution deals and livelihood based on it. But that's the thing. I'm trying to figure out, like, who's this for? It's for the Gunther Eaglemans. That's his Christmas present to people who love hate, who love this seething acid going through their veins at all times because those folks are miserable.
Yeah. 100%.
And what unfortunately those folks don't realize is a lot of the reason they're miserable is because Trump sucks at his job.
Yeah.
You ask people in polls and they're more and more likely these days to say, actually, I don't like this president. But there's enough individuals in the X river of hell to see what he says and say, like, yes, that's great. That second one with the Krasenstein, that was brilliant. A brilliant response. When Krasenstein in that second graphic says Trump's a dead man walking and Eagleman goes, is this a threat? Bro,
Yeah, no.
You're so close to understanding. All Krasinski did another person I don't really care for. But he literally just says, he basically lived out, what if I said something like that about Trump?
Yeah.
Would that be okay? And the guy's like, you're threatening his life.
Well, Krasinski has more power than the president, obviously. So it's not quite the same thing.
You're so close to getting it.
Yeah, I'm gonna move on to this final thing. I just want to really quickly say, I was watching Christmas movies, and I do think Muppet Christmas Carol is like my favorite Christmas movie.
I forgot.
I love that like we all watch those movies growing up, and we all get the theme. Like that, yeah, it's not, why just hoard all your wealth and like be an a-hole like your tenants? Like, yeah, obviously you should be better. But like at some point, and I don't know exactly what the point is, it's like, actually screw all that. No, it's better to be Scrooge. It's actually way better to screw people over and hoard wealth and all that. And those are all the people in charge. The president himself is Scrooge. Stephen Miller going out and thinking Christmas is the time to deport people and Stephen Miller, I know it's crazy to think. At one point, he was sitting in front of a TV as Michael Caine learned a valuable lesson about carrying the Christmas spirit and keeping it close to your heart all year. And he was like, yeah, that's awesome. And then at some point we lose those simple lessons. And if only we couldn't lose them. But anyway, let's show an example of that in real time. In a pretty wild rewriting of a Christmas classic, the House Judiciary of the GOP posted this about Rudolph. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, doubted by the elites, pulled himself up by his bootstraps, faced adversity, carried the team when others couldn't. Definitely a Republican. And I just don't, Brett, do we want to actually counter this? With logic and argument?
The Republicans would have made Rudolph piss in a separate stable. He's not a real reindeer. Look at his nose. He's got a wee-wee in a separate stable. Oh, he wants to hang out with the real biological reindeers.
They would definitely call him probably a groomer. Don't leave him with the other ones. Too jolly.
He's Dave Rubin, honestly. They called him an evil gay until he was on their side, and then they're like, put him in front.
He's useful.
Shine a light on him. He's already got a light, sir. Well, then good. It saves me money on this production.
I just think was it an intern? Was it a full-grown adult male who wrote that post?
But this, John, this is it. This is the front. This is the pitch that only certain people can hear. This is the Fuentesization, the Trumpization. It's the difference, and it's actually the least, for all these Dave Rubin types that are like, oh, the liberalism, pure liberalism, the exchange of ideas, the arguments are what win. No, the new meta, and I don't mean that as like the thing everyone's doing. I mean the new version of meta as in just outside it, the postmodern nihilistic approach is to pretend you're making a cogent argument and have it have all the trappings of what seems like a cogent argument. This bullet point list seems like a series of proposals that they will then say point toward a conclusion, which would be based, in fact, leading logically from those things. But really, their point is to say something really absurd.
Yeah.
And so not the argument, but rather the vibe carries you through. This is Fuentes. This is Fuentes talking about, oh, I don't know how many Jews are dead, Piers, but it's at least 6, maybe 7. 6, 7, maybe 6, 7, 6, 7. It's that, and Piers is like, finally, I got him to agree that 6 million to 7 million Jews were killed. It's like, no, he's there to do this to you. This tweet is there to just, and it's the dominant strategy for all the godless, nihilistic trolls out there. They eat that up. Good for them. Heads I win. And for all the people that are stupid enough to think this is a cogent argument because they still think they're smarter than everyone else, it works on them. Tails, you lose. Period.
Yeah, and the issue is that I naturally, if I saw Chuck Schumer do a thing about, Rudolph, it would be a centrist Democrat, I would want to break it down and respond, but they don't That's not how they function. They do not care if it makes sense. They don't care if what they say is true. They don't care if what they pretend to believe represents reality. Those are just things that a lot of people unknowingly assume are constants, universals, but they are very much not. And I just wonder, like if Charlie Kirk got into a sleigh and saw that the pilot reindeer had a red nose, would he have gotten nervous, you think? I bet he would have. Anyway. With that said, I think that we should probably end our little Christmas talk. We got a lot more news to get to coming up after this.
That's funny.
Okay, everybody, let's see what's going on out there in the audience this fine holiday season. Dragoline69 sent 5 Damage Report gift memberships. Thank you. That's super nice of you. CD Northstalk Dad gifted 1 as well. Thank you. Moody Corgo became a member. Welcome, Moody Corgo. Ninja Visible also became one. Thank you so much. Yoda sent in a super chat to say happy holidays to the entire team at TDR except Brett, who inexplicably hates chimichurri.
Chimichurri is weird. I don't hate it.
I'm
just there being like, oh, I wish this sauce had like a thing. I wish they cooked it and they reduced it. Like a sauce is like, oh, let me do this so it releases the flavor and becomes a sauce. A chimichurri is like a puddle with stuff in it.
Is it like more of a jam than a sauce?
It's a suspension.
It's a suspension,
not a solution. So
it's not a solution to any problem. Speaking of food,
I like it. I like everything in it. Go ahead.
I actually could not even tell you what's in it.
It's like was it parsley, oil, and garlic?
Oh, that's fine. I don't get parsley. But anyway, I make quiche for the holidays, and I had forgotten to get the crusts. And so for the first time, I took down my stand mixer, which I've used 3 times in the last 4 years. And I really need to start using it more because it's so fun when that thing is whipping around. And I made a crust, which turns out is not very difficult to do actually, but was quite fun. I need to do more stuff like that. Okay.
Good for you, John.
I did, it was fun. I was productive. Alex K25 says in a super chat, happy holidays and happy new year to John, Brett, and the Dragon Squad. May 2026 look less like a dystopian hellscape. Yeah, I don't think you're gonna get your wish because like their polling is gonna get worse. Their desperation ahead of the midterms is gonna get worse. And you ask yourself, what are they going to do to stop themselves from losing in the midterms? What are they gonna do? I think it's gonna be some pretty dark stuff, but we'll see. Anyway, late bloomer Mad Grandma's been here for 66 months over on Twitch. Thank you. Garden Dragon for 34. Thank you so much. Linan for 53. Thank you. Miss Tina 59 says, John and Brett, what a Christmas prezi. I like it. Key John 65 months says, greetings from Germany. I don't know. I'll visit in the next years. My social media won't allow that. Proud progressive and I'll never stay quiet. Oh, worried that you'll get stopped at the border for your social media activity. That's probably the case. Okay, but anyway, so I do want to say, Brett, okay, some of my favorite Christmas presents, new hat for golf, new vest for winter golf. I'm excited to get all dressed up and play. I'm kind of in that mode, like I want to play, but I like getting into the attire. My brother got me new golf shoes. So I have way too much golf. I have so much more articles of golf clothing than rounds of golf I've ever played in my life, which probably is how it's supposed to work.
We should play this weekend.
I don't think that's gonna.
Oh,
I know I want to, but how are you gonna get? I was gonna say tickets. How are you gonna get tickets? What, like for tomorrow?
We'll see. Sunday.
You know that the weekend's like almost here. Okay, well you can look, and I can try to sell it domestically. We'll see if that works. But either way, or maybe the driving range for a little bit.
Something.
Hang out a little bit. Anyway, okay, everybody. Let's see. Okay. Do I have? Okay. CK Progressive. I'll get to you super chat as soon as I can. But first, we have more news coming up after this. Okay, everybody. Now that we've set the holidays aside, let's get into the serious stuff. Starting with this.
If we stay unified, there is absolutely nothing that we can't achieve. And we've already demonstrated that this Congress. We've had one of the most productive Congresses in the history of the institution.
Okay, I guess right-wingers are learning comedy. That was not bad. Yeah, most productive. It's amazing. The brazenness from that guy who not only knows obviously that that's not true. I mean, you've been paying attention. You know that they've done basically nothing, but that he knows that fundamentally, philosophically, he is the most irrelevant Speaker of the House in living memory. By design, by choice, it's the only way he could still have the position is if him being the Speaker doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. I mean, even in his ability to like rein in his caucus, he hasn't even been able to do that. So he's not trying to do anything. He's incapable of stopping those who actually do want to do something. So the idea that it's effective or productive or is serving the interests of the people, those are obviously ridiculous statements. And we're going to demonstrate it with facts. They did less than 40 bills this year that actually got passed and got signed. It's a modern record for lowest legislative output in the first year of a new presidency. They had a 21st century record for fewest votes cast, even just votes, held barely half as many votes as in 2017, the first year of Trump's first term, when Republicans also held the majority. And you can see in terms of, this is, I believe, bill passages right here, how few. You have over 100 the first year of the Obama administration. It trends down for Trump, down for Biden as well, and then far down for Trump's second term. And here's the thing. When I mock Mike Johnson for not being productive and not having power, like I'm not implying that he really hurts from any of this. It's not like he has this long list of things that he'd like to do, but he didn't get it done. He doesn't want to do anything except the things he did, which is maintain his hold on power, which is basically purely symbolic at this point, and pass massive tax cuts. They did that. There's nothing else. And I try to remind people that all the time, like we have all these things we want to do. And if you listen to right wingers like whine and bitch all the time about the state of the country, you might think that there's a lot of things they want their elected officials to do. But like what are they gonna do? Like make it illegal to spend federal dollars on abortions for the 50th time overlapping? Make it so that you can't do gender affirming care for the 30th time overlapping? There's nothing else they want to do because they don't actually care about any of that stuff they talk about. Let Donald Trump go and hunt down immigrants or whatever. He can do whatever he wants. They're there to pay back their donors. They did that. They're done for the year. Maybe in a year they'll do another tax bill or something, Brett. But honestly, it is pathetic. It's beneath what the Congress should be doing in a country that has so many actual problems. But I don't think that Mike Johnson is hurting for how unproductive they were.
I've said this for many, many years, is that the best job in the world is the science guy on a procedural crime show where you just wheel across and go like, the DNA. But the second best job in the world is Republican congressperson, senator, or president in the federal system. Because the entire identity of the party, conveniently for them, is we shouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Democrats are in a tough position because Democrats are like, we can fix everything. And the Republicans somehow are just like, you can fix anything, but I shouldn't be in the way. The worst thing that you can hear in the world, according to Ronald Reagan, is I'm from the government and I'm here to help, is a famous quote, basically. I don't remember if it's word for word, but that's that. And another thing that a lot of Republican constituents want is this just, and a lot of people in general, is this feeling of moral superiority to others.
Yeah.
And this feeling that my side's winning, and this idea that my side is winning and the other side is losing. But what this kind of creates, as you were pointing out, is a bunch of like empty bills that they pass, if any. They're like basically like, oh, I outlaw alien abductions and I outlaw monsters under the bed.
Yeah,
it's like those things haven't, to my knowledge or anyone's real provable knowledge, happened to at the very least a significant enough portion of the population where we need this law. But the worst part for me, for the Republicans, is all the laws and quotas, and they have this denaturalization quota that you shared this morning that just kind of broke. They released a quota, is like, you're just targeting people that didn't do anything wrong. That's what I hate. is in their insane quest to outlaw boogeymen, they end up arresting. It's a literal witch hunt. Like they end up just, they arrest and deport Hester. She was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you are right. They want to.
Characters.
Thank you. They want to feel that they're winning, but I do think feeling like the other side is losing is far more important to them. And the thing is, you don't need legislation to give them that feeling. In fact, legislation probably would be harder to do it. All you need is appearances on Fox News or whatever, an executive order. That's all you need. And by the way, like to anyone in MAGA or whatever, like you guys won everything last year. Why are you so mad right now? Why are you so much madder now than you were before you won? Why does control of everything in now hindsight not make you feel any better? Like, see that the America Fest thing? They're all enraged at each other. The Nick Fuentes is attacking the Ben Shapiro's. Ben Shapiro, his faction, they're on that. They're all enraged. They won everything. Trump is the most powerful president of the last 20 years. They got their massive tax cuts. They're all way angrier than they were before they won. And so honestly, let us do you a favor, give us power back, and you guys will feel better, okay?
Right. Anyway. To be infuriatingly oversimplifying this, the reason that they're so mad is that they're still not happy.
Yes.
Yeah. They have everything they said they needed to be happy.
And it's not what they actually needed.
And they're still not happy, and that makes them even more mad.
Exactly. Well, let's turn now to some of the more substantive reasons that some of them might be mad, justifiably, starting with this.
We're also going to reclaim America's heritage as a great manufacturing nation, and we were doing that.
This is basically April, when the president rolled out his Liberation Day tariffs that were designed to boost manufacturing jobs. And what you can see is it's really been down ever since then. In fact, manufacturing employment in the United States is now at a 3.5-year low.
Yeah, it almost looks like it was the direct, verifiable, trackable cause of all these problems. And sure, the manufacturing jobs or whatever is one way to look at it, but there are a lot of ways to look at it. And it really does seem like Donald Trump has not only not achieved the gains he promised you, but all of the moves he's made have made things notably, and notice that they have been noticed, worse in just about every way. We have 9 months now since the tariffs began, and they've gotten stronger over time. And let's dive now into a little bit of what that looks like over the course of the year. So far, the economy has added 499,000 total jobs since Trump returned to office. That is slightly less than 50,000 per month. And most of those jobs were added in the first 3 months. It was very front loaded there. From May, the month after he announced his tariffs, through to last month, the last month that we have in total, there have been just 17,000 jobs per month. Several months saw net job losses, in fact. So now let's compare that to Joe Biden, a guy who was so bad in the economy that we had to throw his can out, okay? And we did. So if you discount the first 2 years, remember, we're coming out of the pandemic. They brought a lot of jobs back. Let's not count that, right? That's easy. That's unfair to count those jobs. Let's just do the harder the years where everybody was so angry and hated him. There, we got 2.1 million jobs per year, an average of 178,000 per month. In the difficult years, Joe Biden did 10 times the jobs per month on average. And if you don't take off the first 2 years, it was on average 336,000 jobs per month. And so the tariffs were supposed to boost jobs. It seems like it slit its throat. And it's not just that, obviously there's also inflation. That was the big thing of the last election. So in Biden's last year in office, when we were talking constantly about inflation on grocery items was 1.8%. It's now 3.1%. It is almost double what it was under a time when it was so bad that we had to end the Biden presidency. By the way, farmer bankruptcies are way up. About 181 farmers filed for bankruptcy protection in the first half of the year. 60% increase from 2024, the highest 6-month reading since 2020. And we know that a lot of the problems are that like we're paying more for groceries because of the tariffs of the things we're buying elsewhere, but the farmers are being hurt because they can't sell anything anywhere because Donald Trump sold us the fantasy that he would impose tariffs on everyone else and they wouldn't dare to do the same to us. But that obviously was never the case, and it wasn't the case. And so a lot of countries, especially China, aren't buying our agricultural products anymore. And that's a lot of farmers who are now out. They've got nothing thanks to Donald Trump's policies. And so, as always, this is bad in terms of the numbers, but it's worse in terms of the causality. Because it is one thing to look at the last 2 years of the Biden presidency and say, he's not doing enough, go do something. Trump's problem is what he's doing. He's choosing to make the situation worse in all of these ways. And he doesn't seem to have really learned that lesson yet. Brett, what do you think?
Trump's, he's eliminated a lot of jobs personally, specifically the people responsible for reporting on how well the jobs numbers are. But he is increased manufacturing consent for his attacks in Venezuela and his attack on Nigeria, which we were all upset about the situation in Nigeria. We were all pretty upset. I'm pretty sure it's Nigeria. That I was that mad about it that I'm pretty sure it was Nigeria. And then also he's manufacturing all kinds of boogeymen that are here to take our jobs and do horrible things to us. Unfortunately, those things he manufactured were out of thin air, required no natural resources, and added absolutely no value to the economy. That's the problem. Why? Because he's full of hot air. He's bad. Like he literally is throwing out the people who are responsible for telling us whether things are good or bad. And that's horrible. And in the long term, the fundamentals for the American dominance of the global market are not that great. The one fundamental that we have control over is that we're the world's reserve currency. And we have a big economy of people who buy stuff. That's what we're about. Everything else China's got. Right? China's got rare earth minerals in a world where, quote, AI is the future. And there's a global RAM shortage, and there's a global, they have control over all the lithium, and they're doing it in ways that are different from how America does it, which is like, let's bomb boats in Venezuela so we can, quote, get all the oil. As China's like, yo, Congo, you need a road?
Yeah. And
we'll help you get all that out of there, but we also won't kill you. We'll just kind of slave labor you to death, which is different than a hostile takeover.
But that is woke and bad. And so we need to cut USAID. We used to do that stuff. We would use our soft power. We'd help with infrastructure. We have massively pulled out of that, creating a big void for countries like China to flow into. It is stupid, stupid, stupid. We're gonna take our second break. Lots more after this.
I'm a dinosaur. Did you hear that dinosaurs were related to birds?
I've heard that, yeah.
Crazy. You see
it, Jurassic Park, I think, several decades ago. I did hear that, actually. Anyway, well, hello, everyone. Oh, Brett, can I just ask you, because I don't think you responded. I messaged you and Jordan. Did you see One Battle After Another?
Yes, I did.
It's political, so we can talk about it.
We'll talk about it in my garbage people.
Oh, very interesting.
I told the producers that you were messaging about it, but apparently I didn't respond. Oh no, I responded this morning when I was half asleep, and I believe I spelled it YWP instead of YEP that I'd seen it.
Okay. Oh, I haven't checked my Instagram. I have to check. But okay, then we'll talk about that later on. Okay, so in the members' comments, Boomer Dragon Cat says, Brett, I imagine you've never had trouble getting the girls. That twinkle in your eyes is just irresistible. Brooke done good.
You stop it.
The whole time I'm waiting for the turn, and the turn never happened. And so now I'm very angry at myself for reading that at all.
I don't know how to flirt. The one time I was in a meeting and my dad's mentor, who's a gay man, like winked. And I was like, oh, that is great. I forgot people could wink. And we were like all hanging out and he just was like, eh. And then I was talking to this one girl who was really mad at me and I winked at her and she like was like, you've gotta stop doing that. And that's what I was like, I thought I was just acknowledging, I think that's flirting. And then I just flirted.
Wait, how old were you at this point?
22.
Wait, you flirted for the first time when you were 22?
I didn't know all the ways you could flirt. No, John, let me tell you something. It's called being a musician. That's how you get girls. I remember I just played the Roxy in Hollywood. This is more of a conversation you and I should have. This is where I work. But like, I was outside the Roxy after being in a band, and this girl suggestively ate a lollipop at me, and I was like, I'm doing this for the rest of my life.
So why not?
Yeah, but I don't know. You stop.
Okay. Anyway, no more comments like that, anybody. Don't send those in. Embedded Dude says, productive is subjective, John. It depends on what their agenda actually is. Well, totally. Remember, they are there to be a big, massive weight that stops anything from changing, which makes sense if the people you represent won and want to just continue winning for a long time and just keep making money. And anything the government could do would almost necessarily be an infringement on their utter stranglehold on the economy. And so, from their point of view, it does make sense. Doing absolutely nothing is perfectly fine if the people that you're representing have no actual problems. Next TYT reporter says they had a government shutdown that already makes them worse than several congressional terms. No, it's just like once we get past Mike Johnson, which I don't know if that's in like a month or in a year or in 5 years or whatever, but like who's gonna remember the Mike Johnson Congress? What would that even be? Handed over a bunch of your power to Donald Trump or whatever?
I will remember that we had Mike Johnson just because of his name and his hairdo.
I mean, I'll remember the porn thing. That's all that I'm going to remember in the end, I think.
Yeah.
Brooke says, everyone get nasty, thirsty for Brett in the chat. It's time to ruin John's day. Well, don't worry. Just reading that message actually did a pretty good job of ruining my day. Cosmic Uwu sent a membership on YouTube. Thank you. Janet, member for 56 months, says, don't forget that we could get into another government shutdown if they don't pass the appropriations bill by the end of January. Yeah, it's so close. It's crazy that this happens like every 3 months, but good reminder, Janet. Thank you. Okay, we have 10 seconds. These messages are a little bit on the longer side, so we're gonna do it after our next break. Don't worry, we'll get to them. We have more news to get to first, though, after this.
Rawr.
More news to come, but first I wanted to remind you about a partnership that TYT is doing with Noble Mobile, the only wireless plan that pays you to use your phone less. You can sign up for their Noble plan and get unlimited data for only $50 a month, and any data that you don't use gets credited back to your account as cash back at the end of the month. It's your money, so it should be your money. And people who switch to Noble save, they say on average $500 to $1,000 a year on their phone bill. You can find out far more at tyt.com/switch or by scanning the QR code right there. Now, let's talk about one of the things Trump decided to actually do in the holiday week, starting with this.
I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. No more wars, no more disruptions. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Under Trump, we will have no more wars, no more disruptions, and we will have prosperity and peace for all. I am the candidate of peace. I am peace.
Prosperity and peace. He's betting 0 for 2. And I'm not even referring to the wars he's already started and ended in this time. We have a new one. We have one just in time for Christmas, or at least it would be called a war if it were being done to us. We get a freebie where we just bomb people. It doesn't count. But in this case, it's Nigeria. We just bombed Nigeria. So Trump posted this saying, tonight at my direction as commander-in-chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorist scum in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily, he adds dishonestly, innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even capital C centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay. And tonight there was. The Department of War, I don't know what that is, I'm gonna have to Google that, executed numerous perfect strikes as only the United States is capable of doing. Blah, blah, blah. Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues. And that right there is what his base wants to hear. It's that, hey, we killed somebody, they're Nigerians or whatever that we killed, isn't that awesome? And also, Merry Christmas to them, and I'm pro-peace even though I'm doing more bombing. Give me the Nobel Peace Prize even though I'm starting this war or whatever. And that's great for him. What's fascinating is, the Nigerian government is saying that they were involved in the planning of the strikes because what are they supposed to do if he says he wants to bomb them? They supposed to tell him no? Bear in mind, He has previously threatened to kill them as well, though, in this message, saying if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns ablazing. He wrote that, guns ablazing, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. Blah, 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 fast, vicious, and sweet. It's very sweet. Warning the Nigerian government better move fast. They better stop Christians from being killed. Just the Christians, though. The terrorists who are killing lots of other people who aren't Christians, I guess that's fine. But also, let's not even mention it. Let's pretend that this is a genocide of Christians because that's convenient. Because right-wing Christians want to feel like an aggrieved minority. And also, this is a psychological coping mechanism for the right wing. For the right-wingers who see what's going on in Gaza and they see, like, they get jealous of, I think, the moral position that people who are standing up for those who are facing an actual genocide hold by what they're doing and what they're advocating for. And they see that and they think, oh, I wish I could do that, but I don't actually give a damn about Palestinians. What if I pretend that there's a Christian genocide going on in Nigeria? Then I can be anti-genocide too. It's like when they pretend that they're standing up for women in some way, when 99% of the time they're stripping their rights away. It's a fun little lark for them. And so they pretend that it's Christians that are being targeted. Now, Christians are being killed in Nigeria because there's violence in Nigeria and some Nigerians are Christian, but they are not specifically being targeted. Still though, Brett, I wonder with the timing of this, was this a result of Nicki Minaj's appearance at the Turning Point USA thing? Is this what she got in return for appearing there and calling Trump hot? What do you think?
In the wake of the Gaza stuff, a lot of people said but what about these other genocides or these other, mass killings of people based on, for those who don't want to use the word genocide, replace the definition with something else, right? And I think those questions are fair. If in the course of human events, and on the internet, it becomes necessary that we apply a similar standard the world over, and we discover that there's other injustices happening in the world, I think a lot of people on the left did suddenly look at that list and go like, oh, here's a couple that I think we can also care about. And this is people on the right going like, here's a couple that we could also care about. I think that on a retail politics individual level, I think that stuff is pretty, I don't want to say hilarious, but at least interesting to me on like the floating sense of moralness as it applies to international relations as primarily articulated by America firsters and anti-war people. Like what we all want in our personal internet faring days is to feel morally superior to people and not really have to do anything and not really have to suffer any consequences. But like this, it turned into what to many people was like, wait, why did we just bomb Nigeria? It seems like the only people who would know the answer to that are people that are like in on it. Not in on it as like they're part of some massive conspiracy. It's like the people for whom this bombing was targeted to improve their morale. And those are American people who don't really actually care about it in any other way than the religion of the people who are getting killed in Nigeria is mine.
And it just feels to me similar to the South Africa thing, where it's like you have actual conflicts that you could weigh on that are honest. And instead you're like, well, I want my group to feel like it's aggrieved. So what if I just make it up? And then and kind of make a mockery. It's like the vibes thing you were talking about previously. It's like, do they know? Do they even care if it's real? Like the white farmers in South Africa are not actually being hunted down. That's not actually a genocide. What are you talking about? But it allows them to play as if they are doing the same thing as these people for whom an actual genocide is happening and they care. But anyway, we have very little time, so we need to jump into our last story. So why don't we do that? Close out the hour with this. Remember how for years Republicans were obsessed with the idea that men were gonna bust into a woman's bathroom and assault women? Well, it turns out that that's actually going on, but it's not trans people that are doing it, it's ICE that's doing it. So ICE was at the Cato Nutrition Bar Factory in New York, and this is what happened.
La puerta.
Resistance.
Yeah.
Hang it. Got it?
Necesitas abrir la puerta ahora.
Tell me back up.
Necesitas muevas. Vamos a abrir la puerta. Con fuerte.
He's in there. I got it. Ready?
Yep.
Get down! Get down! Get on the ground! Females.
Siéntese ahora. Siéntese. No te muevas.
Miss, pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom. Pull up your pants, come out of the bathroom.
Necesitas poner tus pantalones. She's asking to wait. She's moving pants up.
Okay, please hurry.
Okay. Señoritas, conmigo.
Yeah, or maybe don't hurry. Maybe just give her a minute, or don't do any of that at all. I love that they bust down the door to a woman's bathroom and say, "Women, women, women." Well, are you surprised it's a woman's bathroom? Now, I'm going to say that all of that is terrible. They're going to say it's not. I'm showing my face when I talk about it. They're covering their face while doing it. How certain do you think they actually are that what they're doing is actually awesome if they don't want to put their identity behind what they're doing? And there's a huge amount of dishonesty of what happened there. So they invaded this building saying that they had a warrant for a violent felon. Again, the worst of the worst. Nope, they didn't. They had a warrant for documents. That's it, not a violent felon. They were supposed to get documents that, were they worried that Trump had stashed them in the bathroom? Why did you need to bust down the bathroom door? What did you think she was doing in there when you were looking for documents? Why do you have to lie about violent felons when in reality what it seems like you wanted to do was to bust down the door to a women's bathroom? It kind of seemed like that was the goal here because you didn't want to wait a second. You wanted to really get in there and see what's going on. And so that's what they did. So they detained and questioned people, even those who asked for a lawyer. They deported a bunch of people. Again, remember, their warrant was to get documents from this building, but they deported people. You know, those leeches on society who are working at a factory. They deported all of them. And so, and ICE has been on a tear recently. They shot a driver during a raid in Maryland. They say that he was trying to attack them. He says he was driving away. We've seen this play out before. They lie about that. That anytime you get in your car, they say that you're trying to run them down so they can shoot you. So they did that. And there's a lot of cases like this, Brett. And all of this is going on as we close out the year, a year where America has sharply turned against this mass deportation strategy already. What do you make of it?
For all the transphobic Republicans who are mad that there are, quote, men in the women's bathroom, where you at?
Yep.
The other thing that I find absolutely hilarious is they run in with guns and uniforms and bulletproof vests being like, stop taking a big old. I'm like, when someone comes into my bathroom with a gun, that makes me want to myself more. It doesn't make the process go any faster. I'm gonna need another minute until I get less nervous tummy. But like these are the stuff that why I love body cams. We're gonna break down the door with strong. Like in broken Spanish, this guy is shouting at her that she's the enemy. No, I think her lunch is the enemy and she's trying to handle it.
Oh my God.
It's so insane. Like, and this is the stuff where as they release more quotas that they have to denaturalize people, you're just like, there's gonna be a lot of collateral damage in the women's bathroom.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna end by saying this is how we are ending the first year of this term. The first year, their base is going to get hungrier and hungrier. Most people don't. Independents hate this. Regular people hate this, but their base, who they need to appeal to, wants more. Remember, they loved the idea of feeding people to alligators. Right. That's what their hunger is for. Imagine what comes in year two. Anyway, that's it for the first hour of the show. Everyone, there is more to come in the aftermath, of course, including the garbage people of the week and indeed of the year. All that and more after this. Welcome back to the Aftermath, one and all. Thank you for being here. We have not only news, but also our garbage people coming up soon. But first, don't forget about our sponsor, Noble Mobile. Save money by using your phone less and get unlimited data for $50 a month at tyt.com/switch. Let's jump into some comments and also recognize our members. 5 p.m. somewhere both became a member and then sent 5 memberships. Thank you for that. Very nice of you. Leo, member for 59 months, says, thank you. I've been making that point about the Rudolph story since I was a kid. They shun him until he's useful. Of course, conservatives love that story. Ugh, worst X-Men story. I never really thought about that as a kid. I just liked the Rankin and Bass art style, I guess.
He would have been an H-1B reindeer.
Member for 14 months says, there's some Swedish, which I don't know how to read, but says, from Sweden to my fave silly duo, all the contributors and all the dragons. Thank you for that. Bo3670 says in a super chat, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, boys. Please, John, get J.L. Colvin on your show. Great populist candidate in New Jersey, running on a shoestring and needs our support. So on a Mark Thompson show, he's great. Oh, he's on Mark Thompson. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. I'm gonna save this message. Thank you for that. Okay. With that said, we ready to do this? It's the end of the week, so it's time to take out the trash. Brett, who is your garbage person of the week?
My garbage person of the week is Ben Shapiro for his thoroughly boneheaded take on one of the undeniably best movies of the year. Take a look.
The worst movie that I personally saw this year is very likely to win Best Picture. I hate One Battle After Another with the fiery passion of 1,000 burning suns. I think that the entire plot is ridiculous. I think the script is just trash. And the whole thing is basically just about how America is a white supremacist nation that's secretly being run by a cadre of polo shirt wearing white people who are trying to harm illegal immigrants and black people. I haven't seen anything that I loved. I was fine with Wicked 2. I really liked Wicked 1. There was a movie that I watched, that was Blue Moon with Ethan Hawke, which I enjoyed just as sort of a person who really knows Rodgers and Hammerstein and musical theater really well.
I haven't seen Blue Moon, so I can't.
It's so great. It's like, buddy, I think you need therapy more than you need film criticism. Like, do you realize that your hatred for stuff is not based on its merits, but your own insecurities? And your love for stuff has to do with their essential, like, positive reinforcements of your niche desires, your niche proclivities, right?
Yeah.
That's Ben Shapiro. That's how I would sum up Ben Shapiro, combined with a very obvious jealousy of people who do things well, unless he gives them permission to be one of the like most favored nations based on whether they decided to do that about Rodgers and Hammerstein. One Battle After Another is one of the best movies of the year. It's written by one of the best screenwriters that we know. It's one of the greatest directors of our time, right? Same guy who did Boogie Nights and There Will Be Blood. The guy's got range, okay? What, for those of you who don't know it, and I don't want to spoil the movie, One Battle After Another is not about what Ben Shapiro said. It's not about how awesome leftist activists are. Here's what's in the movie, as far as I remember. Characters and groups. An insane leftist who abandons her kid. Crazy leftist militants who ruin things. White supremacists in collared shirts who try to run the world. A daughter caught up in it all. A crazy self-loathing pervy military figure. Libertarian militiamen, I vaguely remember. Nuns, and Benicio del Toro, who might be the only well-adjusted person in the entire film. Why? For those who haven't seen it, I will just say this. This is not a movie about which political movement is correct. This is a movie about family. This is a movie about who your real family is who loves you, cares for you, and acts like it. That's what One Battle After Another is. Because Van Lathan, also the guy on the left, also didn't like this movie because of how it portrays black revolutionary women. And this, I want to say he hated the movie, but he talked to Brianna Joy Gray about it. And it is this insane blind spot that a lot of people have about comedians and good journalism. My other garbage person was going to be people that are like criticizing Dave Chappelle in the wake of his special because they didn't like parts of it, because they're trying to do the thing that he warns against at the end, which is co-opting him and getting him to do stuff. That's all anybody wants to do, is co-opt the auteurs and the artists who are just trying to, I don't know about Dave Chappelle, he's kind of drifting, but like generally you should watch out for this dynamic where you are upset at the messenger who's just pointing out what might be messed up about your own movement. But what's most ironic about right-wingers getting mad at this is that it's just, at the end of the day, a movie about the value of family, which is what the right goes around telling us we should value more than our jobs, more than people we don't know, just our family.
Yeah.
So Ben Shapiro, I'm sorry Wicked 2 wasn't great, but which I haven't seen, but more importantly, I am sorry that your paralyzing neuroses and insecurities keep you from really being able to understand and appreciate good art. But I think that explains why you can't fucking make it yourself. No matter how much cash gets dumped on you for your bent key, insane attempt to recreate a Hollywood without issues that might offend right-wing snowflakes. The end. John?
Yeah, no, you broke down almost all of it. The only thing I would say about one of the biggest issues that stops him from ever being able to be a person who gives serious, like, critical analysis of a film is he thinks that if a thing is in a movie, the screenwriter is saying it's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's
or bad.
Or bad or whatever. You're like a child, like. And there's so much context in the movie saying that no, they're not endorsing that thing. Like they basically make it explicit in the dialogue that they're not. But he doesn't care. He doesn't want it to be there at all. And so he is very much like a little child when it comes to that sort of stuff. It's not I just saw it recently a couple days ago. It's not my favorite movie of the year. I do really like it actually, and I kind of want to see it again. I think there were other things that I liked Weapons better. I'm gonna make everybody mad by saying my favorite movie this year was probably Thunderbolts. Actually, I really enjoyed it.
I have no doubt that was your favorite movie.
I've seen it 3 times now. I think it's great actually. But anyway, but you can. By the way, you can dislike something. You don't have to like, I don't know, like their need for things to propagandize directly to them makes them think that things are propagandizing against them when they are not.
Right.
But anyway.
And I just want to bring it home with a few quick graphics. Like, I don't think the world is run by a bunch of collared shirt, Bryland Holly hands of the world. But this is the dude. Here are the people who are trying to make that the case for it. Bryland Hollyhand wearing his Rolex and his jet, basically doing the archetype that is in the movie that Ben Shapiro showed in his review. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Donald Trump dined with white nationalist Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes. And I guess the only thing I agree with him is about the inaccuracy of this is that these white supremacists with the collared shirts aren't just in underground bunkers. They're not in underground bunkers. They're out there like JD Vance when he gave a speech recently that got this headline: hateful Republican ripped for saying Americans, quote, don't have to apologize for being white anymore. John.
Yeah, and I love that like he's like, oh, the idea that like racism is driving everything. And then like fast forward 2 months later, he's on the stage like, everybody, we gotta stop these neo-Nazis. They're taking over the party. Like, maybe think about the movie. Anyway, okay, good garbage person though. My garbage person of the week is gonna have to be JD Vance for something that's not like super substantive, but it's just so annoying. He's such performative garbage. It's because JD Vance trained with Navy SEALs recently. You see, he picked up log, he run on sand, he climbed net. Him in boat. It's very serious because he tough alpha man. You know, just don't like insult his wife and he shrivels up like a California raisin. But anyway, no, he's super tough, everybody. And he needed to do this. This is an important thing for the country. This isn't just like to build up his image and do cosplay for photos he can put into campaign ads in 2028 or anything. He's really running because he likes the SEALs. It's very important and serious. This is what this presidency is. It's all photo ops. It's all cosplay. That's all it is. And for almost all of them, it's because they're thinking about 2028, which is bad enough. But it's like, Kristi Noem, JD Vance, you have an actual job now. He didn't care when he was a senator. He was thinking about being VP. He doesn't care now that he's VP. He's thinking about being president. Can you ever do the job you're being paid to do? I want to remind everyone, and this is probably going to ruin your day. JD Vance, over the course of these 4 years, is going to be paid close to $1 million to be your vice president. And he has not logged 8 minutes of work in that time. And he's not going to for the rest of it. He doesn't give a damn one single crap about being your vice president. And this should be the tryout to be president. Why would you give him another job when he didn't do anything as senator and he hasn't done anything as vice president? All he does is run on the beach with his bros or whatever. And so anyway, I feel like Mayonnaise, who says photo ops should be illegal, it's akin to Jake Paul pretending he's a real boxer. Look what happens. Someone ends up taking you seriously and you get a broken jaw. Mike Nellis has a great point. Cool, man, but when you're done cosplaying, can you and your boss do something about housing and grocery prices? Thanks. You remember when like vice presidents used to have like a thing that they would supposedly do, and then generally they didn't end up actually doing it, but at least they had a thing. He doesn't even have a thing. Except, I mean, maybe like berate the Ukrainian president in the Oval Office. Is that his thing? Like he doesn't even have a project that he's pretending to care about. But the main reason that I wanted to do this entire thing was to just read RJ's tweet that just says GI Jello. Because I thought Brett would get a kick out of that. So anyway, that's JD Vance, who got Erica Kirk's endorsement for president. And I like her standing up for her man. I do like the loyalty there. But yeah, it's ridiculous that he's the guy. Come on. And why am I gonna say MAGA? How are you not seeing through this when you never had the capacity to see through Donald Trump? I guess this actually makes all the sense in the world. Anyway, that's my garbage person, Brett.
Good one, John.
Thank you. Now, those are our garbage people. Let's see, 30,000 of you voted for your garbage person of the week. I guess some of you were busy with Christmas and didn't vote, but 10% went to Randy Fine for pushing to expel Ilhan Omar from Congress, 15% for Nicki Minaj for pandering at the Turning Point USA event, but the joke's on you, she did get bombing in Nigeria. 23% went to JD Vance for cozying up with racists, but no, 53% chose your garbage person of the week. That is Barry Weiss for cutting the 60-minute CCOT special. Let's get positive for a bit. Your hero of the week, 24,000 of you voted, 5% going to Chase Damore for his beatdown of Andrew Tate. That is very funny. 10% to Pramila Jayapal for pushing for Medicare for all. 12% to Jasmine Crockett for clapping back at JD Vance's racism. But it was a big win, 73% to Canada for streaming the CCOT 60 Minutes episode so that we would know what they were actually so freaked out about in the administration. Okay, so that was fun, but that was just 1 week. We've been doing this all year. And next year, by the way, we're gonna give you an actual statistical breakdown of who led the most appearances on Garbage People, which will be a lot of fun. But for now, 58,000 of you voted for the Garbage Person of the Year, 3% going to Elon Musk for ruining people's livelihoods with doggy. That seems like not enough for Elon Musk considering all he did, but 6% to Mike Johnson for enabling Trump and gutting Medicaid, 13% to Stephen Miller for pushing for ICE to terrorize people, 78% though went, perhaps not surprisingly, to Donald Trump for his tariffs, the Epstein cover-up, and big dictator energy. Hard to argue against that. Brett, what do you make of the Garbage People of the Year?
Great job. And find out our choices for the de facto Garbage Person of the Year by tuning into our Turks and Jerks special, Monday, December 29th at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, only TYT.com or TYT channels when you're watching on your set-top boxes, or youtube.com/theyoungturks.
Nice. Let's close this out with some positivity though. 55,000 voted for the hero of the year. I think the first time we're doing that. 6% went to Bernie Sanders for his oligarchy tour and helping Mamdani win. 13% to Gavin Newsom for his Trump trolling and fighting redistricting. Hey, look, Gavin, we're nice to you. You happy? 22% went to the No Kings protesters for speaking out on Trump's fascism, but far and away winner, 59% voting for your hero of the year. That is the Epstein survivors for pushing for the release of his files despite the constant and obvious boneheaded, bumbling cover up from those in power, which I can only imagine must be devastating to experience as one of these survivors. But we're going to close things out by lightening up, having a little bit of fun at Donald Trump's expense. Let's jump into this. If there's anything that Donald Trump loves more than fast food and fascism, it has to be high ratings. He talks about the ratings constantly. And for him, there's nobody who's a bigger ratings draw than himself. Except that it didn't actually work out that way when he hosted the Kennedy Center Honors, because preliminary ratings data shows that the broadcast of the awards show had the lowest ratings it has ever had, which I love. Apparently 2.65 million or so people tuned in. That is a 35% decline from just last year. That is a big drop off. And it's actually even better than that. I'll get to that in just a sec. But here he is before the event, so excited to be the host of it, saying it's gonna be broadcast, blah, 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 at the request of the board, which I chose all of the members, and just about everybody else in America, I'm hosting the event. What a ridiculous thing to say. Tell me what you think of my master of ceremony abilities. If really good, would you like me to leave the presidency in order to make hosting a full-time job? We're gonna be honoring true greats like Sylvester Stallone, Michael Crawford, Kiss, George Strait, and Gloria Gaynor. What year is it? But anyway, that's fine. You can honor whoever you want. But I think the American people told you what they thought about your master of ceremonies duties, and they just didn't tune in at all. And what's fascinating is they actually tried to help him out in the broadcast because he spoke for 12 minutes. But on the broadcast that actually went out, they cut it down to just 2. They tried to give you as little Trump as possible, and it still tanked the ratings. By the way, in his jokes, he called the audience miserable, horrible people, which is a weird way to address things. I know, sometimes hosts do that. They roast the audience, like Ricky Gervais or whatever will roast them a bit, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it was a weird event. I do appreciate that CBS still called it the Kennedy Center Honors rather than the Trump Kennedy Center Honors. I like that. It's petty, it's small, but I like it. Brett, what do you think?
You know what? I think that the Kennedy Center, the Paramount, CBS should cancel this failure of a President Donald Trump for his crappy rating. Amazing. Just for context, The Apprentice, the year it got canceled, averaged 7.6 million viewers. And it got canceled.
That's
after
annoying.
That. He had 20 million viewers hit each episode on average his first season, according to the numbers I just pulled.
That is ridiculous.
It's a different time. There was less cool stuff like us to watch. Actually, no, that was 2015 this happened. So
well, this show wasn't on yet.
Right, there you go. So yeah, that stuff is hilarious to me. Did you say you don't know Gloria Gaynor?
I didn't say I didn't know them. It's interesting who he chooses. Sylvester Stallone obviously kind of makes sense. I don't got anything against it.
Michael Crawford was.
I actually don't know Michael Crawford. Who's Michael Crawford?
He's a famous comedian from Britain who then was the Phantom of the Opera here in Los Angeles at the Amundsen Theater.
I didn't know that. I can't.
Wildly talented. I got screen tested for a TV show based on his British character as that lead.
That's
didn't go my way.
I don't know that one. I don't know George Strait either. I don't know.
George Strait is a country music star, very tall, handsome man. Always was a little middle-aged. He looks like a country star who doesn't look like a country star. He looks like a country fan.
Is he straight out of Central Casting?
Kind of. I like George Strait. I like Kiss. I like Michael Crawford.
Oh yeah, no problem against Kiss. I like Sylvester Stallone.
Gloria Gaynor
back in the day.
But back to the lecture at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he bragged about how successful this was going to be. And yet it was undeniably worse than the self same thing that happened a year ago.
Yeah.
The only variable was him.
Yeah.
And he can't run from that. And that's so great to me. I love it. I would eat that 8 days a week.
It is one last Christmas present for all of us. Anyway, that is unfortunately gonna have to be all the time we have for the show. We are gonna be doing our members content. So we're gonna be basically talking about how Tucker Carlson sort of like tried to convince Turning Point USA, all the modern conservatives, like, hey, don't worry about this Nick Fuentes guy. Come on, how bad could he possibly be? He's not a big deal. And we're gonna give you Nick Fuentes' response to that, which is kind of funny, actually. So that'll be going out to our members later on today. For now, though, Brett, thank you for being here. Much appreciated. Everybody out there, thank you so much. I'm also gonna be leading the first hour of the Young Turks later on, so definitely join us for that. For now, though, stay safe out there, stay sane out there. We'll see you soon.